Bitcoin versus real estate. Which is better? Should I buy real estate and save in that? Or should I buy Bitcoin and save in that? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you are. Thank you for watching my videos. My name is DaVinci Jeremy. You know how I do. I'm 5x5 here in Dubai. Hope you're doing well. I am going to be talking about real estate versus Bitcoin. And the reason why is because I had an interesting conversation at dinner last night about real estate. And I want to share that conversation with you today. Also, we're going to be talking about the ETF because everybody wants to know, what does this mean with the Bitcoin ETF? Is there ever going to be a Bitcoin spot ETF? Blah, blah, blah. We're going to be talking about that in today's episode. Then at the end of that, we're going to be doing some trading and showing you what I was trading over on Friday. And I wasn't doing any trading on the weekend, but what I'm going to be possibly doing as well today with trades. So we're going to be talking about that. And if you're interested in trading, you could do so by heading over to, guess where? Yes, bybit.davincij15.com or okx.davincij15.com or 2bit.davincij15.com. Links are in the description below. So let's get to it. Let's talk about first the SEC. The SEC does not plan to appeal the court's decision on Grayscale's Bitcoin ETF, source says. Yeah. Duh. Okay. I remember there was supposed to be some Friday announcement or something like that about the ETF, and I knew that this is not happening. It will eventually happen. This spot ETF will eventually happen, but come here. It's going to be planned with the end of the bull market. Why is that? Because they need to control the narrative. They need to control price action of Bitcoin because they know Bitcoin will go up during the bull market. So if you know that, you don't want to provide a vehicle that will help support the price going up or people buying in and exposing the truth about that vehicle. What is the truth about that said vehicle? Well, it will not have any goddamn Bitcoin. So, can you imagine if they started the ETF now, people started buying it, and it ended up buying up to 21 million Bitcoin? It looked a little fraudulent. They didn't even have to go to 21 million. They could go to 14 million Bitcoin. Some people would be like, that doesn't make any sense. So they can't have that. Right? And so they need to do it at the proper time. When's the proper time? It's the top of the market. So that people go and buy in and start to lose and start to sell. Right? Understand the picture? All right. With that said, right? We'll just go on to real estate versus Bitcoin. I understand that real estate and Bitcoin are two separate assets. They're totally far apart from each other. Yes, I agree, 100%. Whilst one is very liquid, the other one is not. Right? Meaning you can sell Bitcoin instantly, but you can't sell a house instantly. All right, so that's one of many things about Bitcoin versus real estate. Another thing is that a house requires maintenance, or any kind of property requires constant maintenance of that said property, whilst Bitcoin does not. Yet, there's a large number of people who use real estate as a means of savings. And whether you do it for example, I'm going to use it for retirement, or in the case of the dinner party, save it as a backing for a project, you've got a problem. You're like, what are you talking about? You can use it as a means of getting income every single month, right, by renting it out, blah, blah, blah. Yes, 100% agreed. If you use it properly, real estate is used as a means of a business, as an income generator. That's different from Bitcoin, which is a savings vehicle. So if you use a property as a savings vehicle, you're using it incorrectly, and you might as well just use Bitcoin, gold, or something else, because those are not. Real estate is not. I'm going to repeat this. Real estate is not a savings vehicle. Why is that? It's always going up. It's going up in dollars or your local currency because most real estate, most, not all, most real estates in most locations, not all, again, I agree that, but in most locations are going up because money can be printed when you go into debt. So when you go into debt to buy a house, which is the number one way that people buy houses today, you are buying it with printed money because the bank is allowing you to do so. Thus, once this comes to an end, because majority of people cannot save and buy a house, work, save, and buy a house. That's the proper way to buy a house, because a house is a liability, not an asset. Why is it a liability? Because you have to maintain it. So with that said, if you buy a house with your own money that you saved, worked hard to save, or, built up this fortune and use it as a piggy bank, you are making a grave error. If you do that for your project where you're saving it, I'm using the backing of the real estate, you are making a grave error. Those are not the proper way to use real estate. It is not. The proper way to use real estate is, oh yeah, I like this cool house. I'm going to buy it. And I know it's a waste of money, but I don't care. And you don't care about the waste. Then you've done right. You did it right. If you bought this property, house, right, real estate, and you were going to rent it out and treat it like a business, plan for the maintenance, plan for the how much you're going to extract in equity, and not use your funds, but use the banking fund, you're doing it properly. You're doing it. You are executing on real estate properly. If you're not, you might as well just put your money in Bitcoin. If you're planning to save it, just put it in Bitcoin. Just do that. Own some Bitcoin. That's it. Right? That's the proper way. Or gold. Right? It doesn't matter. But Bitcoin is much better for this because the end result of long-term savings that you'll have will outpace any other asset by a long shot. So that's why you want to own Bitcoin versus real estate on long-term savings plan. If you want to own real estate for basically for an investment vehicle, meaning that business, operating it as a business, yes, works 100% better than Bitcoin because Bitcoin can't do that. Okay. Alrighty. So on Friday, I did this trade in my private group. It was a failed trade, got stopped out, right? Even though, later on it did hit its target. You can see my entry, right? You see my stop loss, got wicked out, and boom, it continued. Now, this trade did make sense, and it was the correct trade, and I did get stopped out, and yeah, it's just the way it is, right? Sometimes you make a trade and it doesn't work out the way you planned it, so you just have to accept it and move on. That's the proper way to trade. Currently, Bitcoin is on an upward channel, and it's currently bouncing at the lower level of the channel, as you can see on the 4 hour. That's what I was predicting, a bounce off of the 4 hour, and I was correct. It's just I didn't get in at a good enough position that would allow me to actually get a profit. So that's just the way the ball bounces. With that said, we move on and we try to figure out the next trade. We don't dwell on if you're failed trades, or else you're going to not trade. So, yeah, we could see that Bitcoin on the 4 hour consolidated during the weekend, and now we're pumping finally out of this lower level of the channel. Does this mean we can pump and retouch the top end of the channel? Probably. It's a possibility, not a definitive thing. And We can't really bet on that, but if we do, let's just take a look on what this thing can possibly go. Okay, let's see right here. So we can see that 78.6 is way up at the 28K. 61.8 is probably the most likely target here. You can see that was the start of the breakdown after it tried to make the second pump and failed. So we can see that the 61.8 might be a target, but currently we're at the 38.2, and it has to decide, hey, does it want to break up to the 61.8 from here? And the only way to decide that is we have to look for in this area when it starts to consolidate, because it will consolidate here. Is it going to draw out some sort of either on the indicators, and is it going to give us some sort of indication that it's going to continue or it's going to drop? And that's how I'm going to trade that going forward. We have to wait and see, and before we actually make any kind of actionable trade, unfortunately. Look for something on the daily and try to trade this on the daily. On a daily chart, we can see anywhere on the 61.8 would be your target for the entry. On the daily, you want to get in at the highest point. You open up a trade at 61.8, add to it a 78.6, and you would dump at the 28,590-ish area, or maybe this. Let's just mark this right here. At the 28,623 would be your absolute, okay, I'm walking away from this trade on the daily time frame. So I'm going to probably do this trade. I'm going to open exactly this trade for you on 2-bit, and I'm going to show you this short trade. The reason why I think it's a short trade rather than a long trade is because we are in a bearish market right now. Bitcoin is heading into the December time frame. October doesn't seem to be uppish enough, and I am concerned that Bitcoin could pump even higher than dump, but that's just the way the ball bounces, right? If it does do that, so what we're going to do, right? We're going to see that this is a rising wedge, which if it breaks, we're going to retest the lower level here. And so we want to take that trade, that possible trade, and maybe even take it all the way down to let's do a 3-to-1 on this. Let's see here. What does the 3-to-1 give us? Does it get us to 25, just above the 25? Yes, I love that. So at the lower part of the range, that's perfect. I would take it all the way and taking a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio on this particular trade, because of the high probability that we are going down. So this is going to be my trade on 2-bit going forward. So take a note. Let's just talk about this. I'm going to actually put this in my my group right now. Copy link, and we're going to actually put this in my private group where I place all my trades. So if you want to join that private group, you can do so at davincej15.com. Links in the description below, or just type in davincej15.com. I think you can handle that, since that is my username. All right, jumping over to, I know I've been talking a long time, this stream has gone for a long time. I think we're gone 20 minutes right now. Let's see here. Yep. No, just under 20 minutes, but okay. All right, so let's talk about Ethereum. For this particular trade, I was right and I hit it, the target, but I was convinced that I was wrong. I was thinking, okay, you know what, since Bitcoin stopped out, I might as well stop myself on this trade. And I walked away from this trade before it completed, and it was unfortunately at a loss, and I'm regretful of that particular decision. I should not have exited a trade. I know that you're never supposed to do that. Once you open up a trade and you have a stop loss, you have a target, you let it execute and you learn from the mistake. And that's that. And of course, I didn't do it. It is, you know what? You learn a lot of things when you learn, everything you've learned in trading, but do you do it? Because no, you don't. you do the same, you make the same mistakes over and over again that everybody else does, and that's just the way it is. You just have to be mindful of it. You have to write them down and make sure you try not to do them next time and every single time. It is really difficult, and yeah, that's just the way it is. And eventually one day you will learn not to make those same mistakes over and over again. All right, so let's talk about this. We can see that, I was on the 5 minute. So yeah, I was looking for a trade on the 5. And yeah, when I think about this, right, I realized that this trade had a longer term time frame. And when you're doing it with 5 minutes, you're dealing with, I'm expecting this trade to finish today. And not every trade will finish in the same day. So yeah, you have to start when you're trading the 5 minute, you have to look for the long-term time frame and then decide, oh, wait a minute, this trade could work over a longer term. And it did, because it was actually decided not on the 5 minute to take this trade. It was decided on the hourly. So I should have stuck with the longer term time frame, and then I would have made this trade a successful one. But oh well. Let's talk about this next item here, which is Loom, which has done a 700% against Bitcoin. And what can we say about that, right? Because everybody wants to talk about something that's winning and pumping. Should we jump on? And the answer is obviously no. If you want to do daily trades on this, you can. You can do daily trades, but really, you should not. You should not be doing trades on something unless you're a professional trader and you're doing this on a short-term basis. It is dangerous territory to be jumping into this particular asset. Can you make some money on this? Yes, you can, if you know how to trade properly. This could pump further, and looks like it might. But there is going to be a reconciliation here sometime soon, where it's going to come back to, at the very least, to where it started to base and took off, which is at the 11 cents area. And yeah, I would be careful, because that time is anytime soon. So be careful out there, guys. Don't jump into anything over a long term or even a short term unless you know what you're doing. This is dangerous territory here. All right. Well, I hope you learned something today. I hope you got some insight from today's episodes. I know that I educated someone last night at dinner. I could see it in his face when I slowly explained to him how real estate is not a good savings vehicle or means to back up some other asset. It's just not. All right. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, hit the like and also subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.